Morning, everyone, and welcome to the Bang Mornings with Shazia Khan. And this is indeed an honor for Radio The Bang and also for me that today we have Honorable Justice April Farris with us. But before I take her on this interview, I would like to say that the most important office and the one which all of us can and should fill is that of private citizen. Voting is extremely important. If you don't vote, you lose the right to complain. It is your right, and you should participate in voting. And as you know, general elections are just nearby. We should use this right and go and vote. I was going through and I was reading and learning about you. First of all, good morning, Justice Farris. Good morning and welcome to the Bang Mornings.
Good morning and thank you for having me.
I was reading and I wanted to keep on reading. There are not many people who kind of have this kind of portfolio or resume or the work that you have done. So right now, recently you have been appointed to the First Court of Appeals by Governor Greg Abbott. But if you go a little further back and go where it all started, you were raised in a small little town with probably lots of dreams.
Yes.
I saw that you had some great mentors, including your father, your grandfather, and in high school, dreaming to become a lawyer. Such vision at such young age. And one thing that stood out for me, that you said that you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wow. Good morning. It's such an honor. Well, welcome to the show, please.
Thank you. Yes, so I grew up in a small town in West Texas called Big Spring High School.
Right.
And it was a one high school town. Everybody went to school together. And my parents and my grandparents always encouraged me to dream big.
Right.
And they said that as a woman, the sky was the limit. There was nothing that I couldn't do. And so I graduated high school as salutatorian when I was 16.
Look at us. Oh my goodness. Another feather in your cap. Wow.
Yes.
So your journey from high school and going to Harvard, how did all that happen? I know that you showed interest in going to the Harvard and then you graduated from there. It's like a dream that many young girls see every day, and they find it sometimes difficult or it's lost in translation or something. What would you say about that?
Yes. So I believe God opened a door that I would have never even thought to knock on. So I went from Big Spring to Abilene Christian University, and while I was at ACU, I was always working towards becoming a lawyer. I went to college with the goal of becoming a lawyer. And then I ended up falling in love in college, met my college sweetheart, and he proposed. And so I decided I wanted to get a great score on the LSAT, which is the law school entrance exam, so I could go somewhere nearby with a good scholarship.
Awesome.
So we could get married. And then it was, I studied really hard and ended up making a score that was in the 99th percentile of
Judge. I am like, wow. This, by the way, this interview is not only about you running for this position. This is also very inspiring, extremely inspiring. I think we will all learn from you how to follow your dreams and never give up.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Well, and so I got this great score, and I went to one of my professors, and I said, "What do I do with this?" And he said, "You should apply to Harvard." And I didn't really think that I would get in, but I applied, and then I got accepted. And once you get accepted to Harvard, you can't say no.
There is no turning back. Once
No,
you go Harvard,
absolutely
there's
not.
no. Wow,
Yeah.
Incredible. Before we go to and talk more about your position and your running as, I believe, as Judge, Governor Abbott selected you for First Court of Appeals, I also want to talk about something that I'm super interested in knowing.
Sure.
And I did take your permission before we would discuss that. And this is also one of the backgrounds, a few things that I would like to mention and bring it to light. You mentioned in one of your, when I was reading through, about the imposter syndrome.
Yes.
And that you faced that growing up, and you had that growing up. And one thing that I absolutely loved about it, the way you handled that, and that is by learning facts.
Yes.
Learning. Actually making yourself that you think you are pretending to be, but you are not, or you have that fear. That maybe some people will find out, but you worked through it. So tell us about that.
Yes. So one thing that I discovered when I was in law school was that, when professors would call on members of the class to see if they could answer a question,
Right.
so many times the men were the first ones to shoot up their hand, and the women were always very hesitant. And I was always very hesitant because I had, come from a small town. I hadn't gone to a
Right.
fancy high school. And so I just didn't believe for the longest time that I was, on the same level as my classmates.
Right.
And when I ended up graduating with honors from Harvard, and then I went into legal practice, and I discovered that the best way to overcome fears that you're not good enough is to be the most prepared person in the room. And so my goal going into all of my cases was to know the record, to know the law, to know everything about the case that I could possibly know. And, sometimes it meant that, I would stay up until, very late in the evening, just working to master everything. And it paid off. I've argued over 10 cases across the country, and I've always won the main issue in every single case that I've argued. And once you start building those wins and successes, you can start telling that little voice in your head that it's time to be quiet.
Wow. Women on the mission, I must say. Yes. And that's where you are today. So tell us about this upcoming general election. I know you're a sitting judge right now, but how would you educate our listeners about what the First Court of Appeal is and how they can help, or what you can do to help the people, and what does your position require you to do? And I believe many people know about judges, but the intricacies of this position, or the details, if you would like to, please tell us and our listeners about that.
Yes. So I like to tell people that the First Court of Appeals is the most important court that you've probably never heard of. And that's because our court is the final word on 90% of the cases that come to our door. We hear criminal cases, family cases, business cases, civil disputes, all of these cases that come up from 10 counties. So that's Harris County, that's Fort Bend County, Galveston, and a number of other counties.
Right.
And so when those cases come to us, we issue an opinion and decide whether the trial court got it right or wrong.
Right.
And those opinions then become the law for future cases that trial judges have to follow, that the parties will follow. And so it's just a huge responsibility. And that's why I tell people that it is so important to have people who are competent and experienced on our court. So I'm running, and I'm the only candidate in my race with more than 10 years of experience practicing in appellate law. Law 360 named me one of 5 rising stars in the nation in the year 2020. And so I was so proud of that. But I also have criminal law experience because half of what our court does is hear criminal cases. And it's so important to have somebody who has actually argued criminal cases on our court. And so that's what I'm hoping to bring to the table is a lot of experience and a lot of concern and care about the quality of our work. And also it's absolutely critical that we treat every person, whether they're rich or poor, no matter what their background, fairly in our court. And so those are the platforms that I'm running on.
I loved it. I love it. Competency. You talked about being competent. It is super important, I believe, in every field.
Yes.
You take that a person that you select, a person that you go to, the person you trust has that competency in them, the diligence that I see here. One more thing that I was thinking about, that significance of this court and how not many people are aware of that and how they can actually contribute to this general election to make it more for people to know more about your position, to know more what you can do. And I love the way that when you said that sometimes when the cases comes to you and then they turn out into laws.
Yes.
And this is incredibly important. Another thing that I noticed when you mentioned diversity. Houston is the most diverse city, and the Texas is indeed. But although you grew up in a very small town, but it was very inclusive and all very, very diverse. So I think this position that you are running right now also somehow tell us that how diversity can actually help and how this First Court of Appeal can help many people, especially if you are from minority class and people who are probably less privileged can take advantage of this.
Absolutely. So I loved growing up in a small town. Our town was about 60% Hispanic. And so I grew up going to quinceañeras on the weekends.
Oh, wow.
And we had tamales for Thanksgiving many years instead of always having turkey. And it was just such a beautiful community. I loved the inclusiveness and all of the friends that we made across cultural lines. And it was just fantastic. And so I hope to bring that same level of respect and community to the bench when I'm here in Houston.
You are on Radio The Bang right now, which is South Asian radio. If this is not being inclusive and this is not diverse, then I don't know what it is. But we are honored to have you here with us. And as you know, that Radio The Bang's CEO and President Mike Khan, you probably know him, such an amazing person. And he is excited that you are on our show today. And he was telling me that, she's an amazing woman. She's going to make all the difference. We need to talk about her. We need to talk to her. And I love the passion. And coming from, I'm sorry, but I'm going to say it, from a man. Coming from a man. And again, that's you mentioned that there are men mostly in positions, especially in decision-making positions, or positions where we see a lot of power.
Yes.
And I believe that having a woman sitting there, it's not only a proud moment for all the women here, but for men too.
Thank you. So it has been such a blessing to know Mike. I've been just blown away by how many connections he has in our community, and I am just so grateful to have been able to meet him and become friends. And yes, I would say, especially to our daughters, I'm a mom of two. I have a 10-year-old daughter. It's important to believe in yourself.
Yes.
The men already believe in themselves. We have to step up. And one of the proudest moments in this campaign so far has been the moment that my daughter decided to run for student council because she had seen me do it. And so when we're out there and we're leading, our daughters see that, and they're our future.
And I also believe that if you want to help a child, instead of saying things, just do things.
Yes.
And they learn from your actions. It is a learned behavior. When they see it, they learn it, and they apply it in their lives. You also encourage young women, especially those interested in law, to go out there and prove others wrong. I love that
Yes.
statement. A little party there, but tell me about it.
Thank you. So again, one thing that has been so interesting to me is that sometimes I'll, have coffee with male lawyers who, are seeking advice, career advice, and they always believe that they're qualified for whatever job it is.
Yes.
And then sometimes I'll see women with even higher qualifications, coming in, sitting down and saying, I'm just not even sure I should apply for this.
Yeah.
And I tell them the first key is to believe in yourself, because you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So ladies, have confidence, believe that you're enough, and go out there and take on the world.
Break that glass ceiling. We need to do that. Do not underestimate yourself. Put in the work. Learn the material. When you know your stuff, know that you deserve to be there. The sky's the limit when you work hard and believe in yourself.
That's all there is
Judge
to it.
Farris. Now comes the most important question of the day. How can people help you win?
That is a great question. And there are 3 things you can do that are so important. The first one is to get out and vote and take your friends to vote. Voting starts October 24th. I tell people, vote April and October. Go out, vote early.
I love that. I love that.
So be sure to vote and take your friends with you. Another thing that you can do is you can use your platform, and we all have a platform,
Yes.
to support the candidates that you care about. So if you're on Facebook, if you're on Twitter, then just tell your friends to why they should be voting for me and for the other candidates that they believe in, because there's so many people that you can influence
Yes.
who look up to you. So please share your endorsements far and wide on social media. And the third thing that you can do is you can go to my website, which is www.aprilfarris.com. That's Farris. And you can see what our campaign is up to. You can get more information. You can see our advertisements and learn how to support the campaign in other ways. So those are the big 3, but certainly the top one is go out and vote and take your friends
Go
to
out
vote.
and vote. Spread the word. And you all are, we are in live conversation with Judge Farris right now. Justice April Farris. I love that. Go April in October. Show the fall what the spring look like.
Thank you.
You are a real ray of sunshine. I love talking to you. It is inspiring. And I believe that you are such a good mentor to young ladies out there, young women out there who probably are doubting themselves right now. And just listening to you, if you can change one life, I think it's all the efforts are worth it.
Well,
and
thank
you are
you.
doing that.
And one other thing I'd like to add is I received the Houston Chronicle editorial board's endorsement for my seat. And so if you'd like to learn even more about me or my campaign, go check out that Houston Chronicle article.
I am just amazed.
Thank
I'm
you.
just amazed. Sky is the limit for you, and amazing. Keep shining like a star that you are, and we wish you all the best. On behalf of the entire team of Radio The Bang, our president, Mike Khan, we are honored to have you. Honestly, it is not only a pleasure for me to take this interview and to be in conversation with you, it is indeed an honor for me. And I learned a lot in this few minutes that we have together. And I'm sure the people in your life and that the people that you work with, how inspired they get every single day, just you being there, that energy.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
It's been a
Thank
pleasure.
you. Thank you so much, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.